Okay, I need to know if I am live in the group. Hey everyone, this is my first time streaming into the Facebook group and YouTube at the same time. Tapacorn, you're there, that's amazing. So I know that this is working. And there's just a delay. Tapacorn, could you do me the greatest service? And could you please click on this link and tell me if I'm live in YouTube as well, because I can't check on both screens. Would that be okay? And then we can get going. Oh, maybe I can do that on my phone. Okay, they always said your first video is going to be terrible. So we are doing 2 feedback today, 2 task 2, and I've highlighted these particular essays. Awesome! Thank you so much. I've highlighted these particular essays because there are some particular errors, some areas of or development that I'd like to highlight. So live now, Assad. Great. And who else was I going to do? Ashwin's. That's right, I was going to do Ashwin's. This is awesome. So I'm so excited. I just need to share my screen and then we can get going. Maybe I'll completely switch to YouTube and not worry about the Facebook group. Right, we are going to do Assad's essay. And there's some really great things in this essay that I hope will be of benefit to you. I'm going to keep my eye on the phone. And if you have any questions, let me know. Let me go. Hi, Salima. Oh, it's good to see you. This is great. This is great. Good. So the other thing is, if you're watching on YouTube, I have to tell you, please subscribe. That's what I need to do. So let's have a look. Is this writing big enough so that you can see? Usually I do 3, but I want to do it a little bit more thoroughly today, and I'm just going to do 2. I would like this to be big enough so you can see. Okay, so there's the masterclass that we did a few weeks ago was an outweigh question. And outweigh specifically means to be stronger than. And if you're doing the academic IELTS, then this is the type of advantages, disadvantages question that you will have. You will not have simply discuss the advantages and disadvantages. You will have this type. Do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? So you have to give your opinion. Usually when I teach an opinion essay, or to what extent do you agree or disagree, I encourage students when they first come into the academy, we learn how to write 2 types. The first time they write it, they fully agree or they fully disagree, and then they support their answers in both body paragraphs. But for an outweigh essay, we do acknowledge the other side, and I'm going to read Assad's essay here, and I'm going to see, did he follow the training of the masterclass? And because we acknowledge the side that we think is weaker in the first body paragraph, and then we talk about the side which is stronger. So it's a little bit similar to a discuss both views, ever so slightly similar. Okay, so university students are increasingly studying abroad as part of their studies. Do the advantages of studying abroad outweigh the disadvantages? Okay, so is this big enough for you guys? Assad says, during the process of choosing the university, an increasing number of students started to study abroad instead of studying in universities located in their own country. All right. Can anybody, it's a nice paraphrase, but can anybody identify, so I've picked up immediately on 2 errors. I'm just going to see, this is active learning, I'm going to see your comments. Hi, Shioni. Okay, so first of all, with school and university, we don't use the. However, it is a noun, it's a countable noun, and we can use the indefinite article a. So when we're talking about a noun for the first time, we always use a, meaning any. So during the process of choosing a university, an increasing number of students. Now, started is the past simple, which means that this action is in the past and it's finished and it's not connected to the present. We need to use a verb tense that connects to the present, meaning a recent change or meaning something that is very connected to now, even though it started in the past. And that verb tense is the present perfect. So have started to choose studying abroad instead of studying in universities located in their own country. Okay. Although studying abroad, so there's a little bit of repetition happening here, tends to cost more, it will help them. I think we need to restate students, or perhaps undergraduates, perhaps a synonym for students. It will help undergraduates to be more independent and grow some personal skills. This word some is not that accurate here, and grow personal skills. Better to say a variety of, or a range of. Okay, in my opinion, the pros of studying abroad surpass its cons. So in the masterclass training I gave some synonyms for advantages and disadvantages. And for advantages, benefits, merits, positives, but not pros and cons. Pros and cons is quite, it's not very academic. It's quite, I wouldn't recommend using them. And then for negatives, we have drawbacks, negatives, disadvantages, disadvantages. Okay, so not pros and cons. But that's okay. I mean, I'm going to leave those there, and I'm just going to recommend these. Okay, so Assad has said that he's going to talk about the pros that are stronger. So let's see what his structure is, because the masterclass, or the way I encourage students to respond to this essay, is to write about the weaker side first. So I would be writing about the negatives in the first paragraph, and and then the pros in a second. But let's see. This is a lovely, he started with a lovely gerund. Deciding to study abroad is hard because it is more expensive than enrolling in a university in our country. So we should always avoid personal pronouns. We shouldn't say he, she, we. We can say I and we sometimes, but our or us. So we would say in one's own country. And then we want the apostrophe there. After all, students pursuing their studies overseas need to pay additional tuition fees to the university in many countries. Since when I applied at the University of Manchester in the UK, I was informed that I have to pay 60% more tuition fees than British citizens each year. This was one of the main obstacles that a student could face while applying for his university degree in another country. Okay, so good job, Assad. So the first thing is, you should talk about the disadvantages on the first instance. So studying abroad, let's not say is hard. Hard is a very basic word also, like is big, is tall, is nice. Studying abroad can be, so what I would start this sentence with, I would possibly say, admittedly, studying abroad is more expensive, or certainly, or some type of word that shows that you don't think this is the strong point, can be much more expensive than enrolling in a university in one's own country. After all, students pursuing their studies overseas need to pay additional tuition fees to the university in many countries. Now, here is where we come to a problem. Although it says give examples, we should never tell a personal story. And we need to give general examples. And I've made some really fantastic free essay structure training with sentences on how to give general examples. So what I would say here, Assad, is I would say, take the University of Manchester, for example, or take, let's say, okay, so take British universities as an example. Okay, full stop. Okay, take British universities as an example. They are known to charge 60% more tuition fees for international students each year. 60% more tuition fees for international students each year. So this is how you give a general example. You would lose a lot of points for telling a personal story, and that's okay if this is not a bad thing you've done. This is just, I'm showing you how to make it more correct, make it more academic. This is an academic piece of writing, so you need to make it general. So we're going to delete this, and then so we're going to say this is, not the past, this is, because it's a fact, it's now, one of the main obstacles that a student could face while applying to study for his degree in another country. Okay, so that's great. So you've talked about the disadvantages. I might suggest you say this word, admittedly. So admittedly is really good to say that that you don't think this is the strong side, but you're saying you do acknowledge. And I teach students in the academy to say, on the one hand, I acknowledge that, and to talk about the disadvantages. So that's a suggestion of mine. I'm just going to check the comments. One day when I have two screens, I won't need to look at my phone as well. Okay. Good. Anybody have anything to say? Okay. Good. Great. Okay. So, let's scroll down. On the other hand, students that studied, now we've got a little bit of a tense issue here. So again, Assad, you're using the past simple, and we're talking about fact. We're talking about in the present day. So students who study would be better. Their degrees abroad gain. So we're keeping this in the present. Students who study their degrees abroad gain, not gained, not past simple, present simple, gain additional skills as they should deal with all the problems in their life independently. Okay, so how do we make this topic sentence a little bit clearer? On the other hand, students who study their degrees abroad gain additional skills as they, not should, because that's advice. Let's say as they learn how to deal with their problems independently. As they learn should deal with all the problems in their life. It's very wordy. As they learn how to live independently. Those skills could include having a stronger and more independent personality while facing problems. This is why the company where I work prefers to hire students that did their higher education overseas, because this company value the additional qualifications gained from experience. So again, Assad, we need to delete all of your personal stories. Those skills could include having a stronger and more independent personality while facing problems. So if students are going to say while facing problems, I would always want to say, it's very general, it's very vague, what type of problems? So maybe say such as, and you could think of an example. Hi, Naom, it's really great to see you. I've got a student from Thailand in my academy too. I've got a very small online academy, so I, apart from the Facebook group, are you doing academic or are you doing general? So yes, back to Assad. So Assad, I would like you to say those skills could include having a stronger and more independent, so you've already said independent, personality while facing problems. You're going to have to say, to get a good score in task achievement, you're going to have to say what problems. That's great, you're doing academic. So, while facing problems, such as this is now, we want to try and reword. So would you like to help me reword and make this personal example, make this personal example into a general example? We want to change this. And instead of saying, this is why the company where I work, let's say, many companies, I've got a very clumsy keyboard, many companies prefer to hire. So very simple. To make personal examples general, we simply start it with a general statement. So say many companies, or we say many studies have shown. We never invent examples, and I see this a lot. So Joy, would you mind answering my question, please? That's very demanding. Which question? I didn't see your question. Yes, of course I'll answer your question, but let me just finish my sentence. So for example, lots of students, they invent a fake study, and they say 37% of 37% of Scottish people prefer to spend the winter in Thailand according to the Evening Standard. So, oh, sorry, I thought it was, you think, Tassin, I thought you had already asked a question, then maybe I missed the question and I didn't see it, and then you said, would you mind answering it? This is why tone is never conveyed well in texts. Of course I'll answer your question. Tell me your request. Sorry, it's very British. I'm not offended. It's very British to say, would you mind when you feel a little bit annoyed? So I'm not offended at all. Okay, so right, what was I saying? Oh yes, inventing fake studies. So 37% of Scottish people, no, we don't say that. We would just say many studies have shown that Scottish people. So the way to make specific examples general is to say many companies, or it is well known that, or it is evident that. So many companies prefer to hire. Hi, Assad! I can see there, that's so exciting. Many companies prefer to hire students. Now, look at the grammar that I'm going to use here. Who have done. So we need to use the present perfect because it's not completed in the past, it's connected to now. You probably could say did. Many companies prefer to hire students who did, but we're talking about, yes, we're going to say have done, who have done their higher education. So we can just copy this. This is good. This is good. This is good. Copy and paste this. Who have done their higher education overseas, because this company, so many companies. So we have to change it to these to make it plural. And then we have to change it to companies. Value the additional qualifications gained from the experience. Great. Okay. In conclusion, with this increasing trend of students enrolling in universities abroad, there are additional challenges faced by students. Those challenges will create advantages and disadvantages, but in my opinion, okay, I'm going to help you reword this. In general, this is really good, Assad, and it's clear to see that you've been studying hard, but your conclusion is not very direct, specific, accurate to the question. So this is the way I teach. I'm going to tell you what that I teach a conclusion for an outweigh question. So we start with a complex sentence, while or whereas or although. While, let's try and use a little bit of a variety. While pursuing education overseas may incur higher costs. So you say while, and then you talk about the downside, and then you talk about the upside. So in your conclusion, Assad, what you said was with this increasing trend of students and what there are additional phase. So it's not about challenges so much. It's not about the challenges creating disadvantages and advantages, really. Maybe the challenges are the disadvantages, but this is what I would recommend. While pursuing education overseas may incur higher costs, this is superseded, or this is overshadowed by the benefits of improved career prospects. So what you do in an outweigh, or it's what I help students do, in an outweigh conclusion, you do while, and then you talk about the weaker side, the side you don't think is strong, and then you talk about the stronger side. Overshadowed by the benefits of improved career prospects. Sorry. And then we can add a little recommendation or a prediction or a justification. So what we can say is, therefore, let's see, what could we recommend? We could say, scholarships should be provided for those scholarship should be provided in order to mitigate, this is a lovely word, means reduce a negative thing. Scholarship should be provided in order to mitigate the high costs, or what we could say is, therefore, more scholarships should be provided. More scholarships should be made available for promising students in order to mitigate the downsides of studying abroad. Okay, so mainly I want to show you this complex sentence. The complex sentence to contrast the downsides and the benefits. And then we have a therefore. Does anybody have any questions about that? Now, Tassin, let me see. You haven't used the complex sentences while using example. Well, I just used a complex sentence now. So good job, Assad. So what we've learned from Assad's is that his structure was good. He talked about the downsides first, but he thought the advantages were stronger. And the main thing we've learned about this essay is that we don't give personal examples, we give general examples. And in the first paragraph, we said, take British universities as an example. And then we explain what happens in British universities. And then in the second body paragraph, the general example was many companies, not my company. Good. I would also even change it, who have done, many companies prefer to hire students who have completed their higher education, let's say. Great. Okay, so I think there's a little delay on the video. So while I'm talking, you're hearing it like it's 30 seconds behind. Awesome. So we are going to go to Ashwin's. How are we doing for time? Assad, I'm going to link this document under the video in the Facebook group after I finished. You did a great job. So we're going to go to Ashwin's, and there were some great things that I wanted to comment on in Ashwin's. So it's a very long essay, although I've written the question here. It's about 320. So ideally you'd be aiming for about 280 to 300 words. But if you've got time to write more, that's great. I always think, though, the more you write, the more chance you have of making a mistake, of making a grammatical error. So let's have a look at Ashwin's. So we're just doing 2 today. This is the second. And have a look at this. Many working people get little or no exercise either during the working day or in their free time, and have health problems as a result. So that's our premise. So every IELTS question has a premise. A premise is a sentence or a statement. And then we've got questions connected to the premise. And here we've got two questions. Why do many working people not get enough exercise? What can be done about this problem? Does anybody know what type of question this is? What do we call it? I'm just going to wait here for your answer. Hi, Manny. So this is a cause and solution essay, or it's not a problem and solution, it's a cause and solution. And the language is slightly different. So for problem and solutions, we use as a result, we use as a result for a problem, or this leads to. But for causes, we use this is due to, or this is because of. So let me just make sure that this screen is still. Yes, cause and solution, not problem. So the thing is, it's a very, very fine line. So sometimes they'll say, what problems does this cause? What can be done about the problems? But it's different language. If you write about the causes when it's a problem, you'll lose points in task response. So for example, the difference between a cause and a problem is that a cause is the reason, the problem is the result. And if you talk about the reason and not the result, you're going to lose points. So you always have to study, is this cause or is this problem? So let's have a look. How does Ashwin do? Nowadays, numerous working class individuals do not get sufficient time to work out, either during a working day or a weekend, thus leading to health issues. This essay will further elaborate the reasons for this problem, along with the solutions to curb it, with apposite examples and arguments. Well, okay, I can actually always tell what country a person is from, and according to how elaborate their thesis is. So the first thing is that, where's my mouse? Okay. Does anybody know what this refers to? Working class individuals. So in the UK, 100 years ago, there was a class system. There was the working class, who were the very poor people. And then there was the middle class. And then there was the upper middle class. Then there was the lower upper class. Then there was the upper class. And then there was the royalty. So working class actually talks about poor people. And it's a word that we don't use anymore. So simply, working individuals, not working class, do not get sufficient time to work out either during a working day or a weekend, thus leading to health problems. So after thus, you need a full clause. You need a subject and a verb. And here we do not have that. We simply have a participle. We have a present participle, which gives extra information. After you have thus or therefore or hence, you need a subject and a verb. So thus it leads to. So, but let's change this. Let's change this. Let me see. Individuals do not get sufficient time to work out either during a working day or a weekend. Let's delete this, thus, and let's say, which is leading to health issues, which is leading to health issues. Now, so I really don't like this type of thesis. This essay will further elaborate the reasons for this problem along with. So what I would like to show you, and we were doing this in the academy this morning, is this, which is leading. Okay, so what we say here is, when it says why, we say this is largely due to. And then you say what it's due to. And then you say, however, there are measures, we don't want to say which twice. However, this can be tackled by, or mitigated by. And then you say, and then we don't have this elaborate reasons for this problem along with solutions to curb it. I don't know what this word means, apposite, examples and arguments. So we don't want to tell the examiner, I'm going to give you examples and arguments. It's like saying, I'm going to talk to you now. Okay, now I'm talking to you. So we want to actually tell them what the examples and arguments are. So I'm going to suggest my version there. Okay, so what is the, why do many people? So Ashwin needs to answer this in the first body paragraph and needs to answer this in the second body paragraph. To begin with, these days there's a cutthroat competition everywhere and people work hard day and night to become successful and earn good amounts of money. So to begin, there is, so first of all, cutthroat is, I thought cutthroat was one word. It's two words, but there's no hyphen. No there is cutthroat competition everywhere and people work hard day and night to become successful and earn. Amount of money is a countable noun, so we can say earn a good amount of money. They have got a busy schedule that they don't have time to look after themselves. So we don't say don't for a start. We have to say do not, because we're not allowed contractions in academic writing, that they do not they have got a busy schedule. Let me just look at the question again. Many people get littler during the working day or in their free time and have health problems as a result. You know, I mean, it's okay to say, yeah, people are busy, but it's, again, it's a very, you're not saying actually the reasons, you're just saying people work hard. But actually, people in the past always worked hard. Actually, people in the past worked harder. So it's more about, I would say, a sedentary lifestyle, that most of our work is done on a laptop and a computer now. Nobody walks to work, everybody gets taxis and buses. So I say, like, your grammar is okay, but the actual idea is very vague. It's like, well, people are working hard. There's nothing to say why working hard doesn't allow them to be fit, because, you know, if you're working in a gym and you're working 12 hours a day, you're working hard too. So it's more about, I believe, the working environment these days. Yes, people work hard, but it's also, they are working on laptops, on computers, public transport, taxis. No chance for exercise. That's just my idea. What do you guys think? Anybody have any comments about that? Oh, Dent. Oh, that's so great. That is so amazing. Were you doing academic or general? Just remind me. And would you like to do an interview with me in the group? I'm always looking for people who get a 7 to do an interview with me. Okay, back to the essay. They have got a busy schedule and they do not have time to look after themselves. So why does busy mean that they do not have time? Well done. If you send me a message, if you have time to do an interview with me, and if you don't, that's fine as well. So back to this essay, they do not have time to look after themselves. Moreover, they are not able to dedicate time for exercise. That's just kind of repeating yourself. Not okay. For example, in some job profiles, people work extra hours to earn money, and again, you're just repeating yourself. Here, you say they work hard day and night, and now you're saying, for example, they work hard to earn extra money. It's just repetition. Therefore, it is vital to prioritize the tasks and dedicate time accordingly. So you're not really, this paragraph isn't about solutions, but you're talking about solutions in this paragraph. Can you not hear me, Vanessa? I think people can hear me because like Dent has just written a reply to me saying general. Anyway, so in this paragraph, lots of repetition without much idea development. Okay, so, okay, now, this is the reason I wanted to do this essay. Like every coin has two sides. We don't use idioms in academic writing. Why can't I? Every coin has two sides. Perfect. Okay. So what we do is for a problem solution, we say nevertheless, there are some solutions. This problem also has solutions to it. Firstly, working professionals should devise a proper schedule and they should strictly follow it. Secondly, they should be able to segregate their personal professional life. And finally, they should be able to take out some time for themselves to work out and exercise. So I recommend never writing a list. Firstly, secondly, thirdly, finally, that's what you do in a process or in a task 1, but not in your task 2. So for every idea that you introduce, you should then write an explanation or an example. So every idea should have 2 sentences before you talk about the next idea. So working professionals should devise a proper schedule and they should strictly follow it. And then you should, for example, or I teach in the academy how to give examples using conditionals or using by plus ing or using a when sentence. So explain here. Before you say secondly, so you should explain your idea. Secondly, they should be able to segregate their personal life and family life, and then you explain. You don't say finally. And you should only have 2 ideas per body paragraph, so you should choose which ones. Well, no, they don't. Anything to do with developed nations, where the people stick to a routine that keeps them fit and healthy, because I don't. Hence to stay happy and healthy, a person should develop a sense of self-discipline. So you need to explain your ideas better. In conclusion, I would reiterate that health is the most critical asset of a person, and he should take appropriate measures in the form of exercise to take care of it. Okay, so in conclusion, restate the causes, restate the solutions. In conclusion, a fast-paced work life inhibits many from being active. However, by creating and sticking to a strict schedule, which includes exercise, the population can become healthier. Okay. I wouldn't say I would reiterate. And we always avoid personal pronouns. So we always avoid he or she. And if you need to say use a pronoun, we use they or them. Third person. I would reiterate that health is the most critical asset of a person. And so the question isn't explain how important health is. The question is, why do people not have enough time? So don't be irrelevant in your conclusion. Yes, health is important, but the question didn't ask you, to what extent do you agree health is important? So there's no reason to say health is important. And also, it doesn't ask you to talk about what are the results if a person is healthy. It doesn't ask you to say, what happens when a person is healthy? It asks you, what are the solutions? So your grammar's good in your conclusion, but it's not relevant. What linking words can we use for conclusion? There's no like particular linking word for a conclusion. It depends on the conclusion. So I've used however, but I would use in the previous conclusion, if we go back to Assad's, we can use while in a discuss both views. Okay, I hope that was helpful. I'm planning to go live with feedback every Tuesday, and I'm going to choose which time is better. For you, which time is better? So I've done this at 4 o'clock GMT, and the alternative is 11 o'clock AM GMT, which is 5 hours before now. If I do it 5 hours before now, are you able to watch? This time is good. Okay. This time is my sleepy time. But yeah, most of yes, I think in the Asian countries you're like four hours ahead, and then in the Americas you're like 5 hours behind. Vanessa, what country are you in? That's fine. Vanessa, where are you? Where are you in the world? So Thursday, 4 o'clock, we are doing how to explain your ideas using conditionals. And I'm going to do, oh, you're in Peru. Okay, so you're behind. Okay, perfect. And Shioni, you preferred 2 p.m. GMT. I wonder if that would be possible. I'm going to think about 2 p.m. GMT because that might be really nice for me as well. But then that means no lunch. So I'm going to do a series, a playlist on how to explain ideas, because I think students really struggle with, first of all, creating ideas, but then when they've got an idea, how do they explain it? And I see a lot of students just use lots of linking words saying, for example, however, therefore, as a result, moreover, further, and not actually able to express their ideas in a sophisticated way. So, bye, Tassin. Really good to see you. Lovely to see everyone, and see you on Thursday. Conditionals, explaining ideas. Bye.